Some say the best tortilla is cooked in the hottest comal. ¡Órale! Batman. Batman. I am el Batman.
No, but for real, this has to be the most racist, stereotypical version of Batman that they could have made. I don't see them making the black Batman, call him the black man. Wait, that's genius. No. No. I'm joking, DC. Please. I know you have a backtrack of being very racist and stereotypical, especially against Mexicans. Let's not forget your last time when you did your Mexico Day thing, when you had people with their tamales and you almost gave a Batman a freaking burrito instead of a batarang, bro. But let's just get into what is specifically wrong about this, starting with the whole concept of Aztec Batman, which is something that I absolutely hate from Hollywood, that they always do, that boils my frijoles away, that they always mix a bunch of cultures together from different parts of Mexico and they just mix them up in a molcajete and call them, oh, this is Aztec. Why? Because Aztec is like the most known one, even though arguably the Mayas are like the coolest one by far and the smartest one, whatever. No, they choose the Aztecs, which by the way, they were savages. They were absolute monsters. Like, they were insane, but we will get into that in a little bit. Before we get into that, orale, hit subscribe, hit the like button. Please comment down below. What do you think about this Aztec Batman BS? Because I am not having any of it, but getting back into the video. Starting with the design of all of the characters, you can tell that with the design of the characters, which is just a mismatch of Aztec, Mayan, Olmec, I don't know, a bunch of different cultures. The infrastructure is all wrong. It's just a bunch of things that kind of look Mexican, and there's like palmeras, which makes no sense because the Aztecs were inland. Like, the Aztecs were so inland that the only body of water that they only met was a lake, and it was a big lake, but it was a lake. It was not the ocean. Like, and then they show that the Spaniards come through the ocean, through the shore. It makes no sense. And anyone with any basic knowledge of geography and history can tell you that the Spanish people came through Veracruz. They founded the first town in America, which is called La Villa Rica de la Veracruz, which is, what it came to be, Veracruz. So the Spaniards came through that shore. But the Aztecs didn't see them on the shore. Like, the first people that were in contact with the Spaniards were the Totonaca people that were in that area, in that region, but they didn't see them into probably months or even years later. Like, they were deep in the jungle, bro. So it took them a while to find them. This idea of, oh, the natives were seeing the shores and the Spaniards is such a Hollywood fake idea, and it just fits into this bullshit narrative of, oh, the Spaniards are the bad people, the evil white came to oppress on the poor brown people. Oh no, they were so poor, they were so naive. Oh no, bro. Like, I don't understand what this idea about the Aztecs that comes from modern narratives and Americanized media, but the Aztecs were not good people at all. I'm not saying that the Spaniards were good, but objectively they were doing way less garbage than the freaking natives were doing. Like, let me just put you in context what the Aztecs were doing specifically for 100 years, by the way, not a little bit, for 100 years. But starting with, everybody knows human sacrifice. It's like it's a given when you talk about when you talk about Aztecs, it's a given that they did human sacrifice, and then people still like no, poor guys, oh no. But not only they did like mass human sacrifice, because the Templo Mayor legend that they supposedly kill like approximately like 80,000 people in a few days when they did the inauguration of the freaking Templo Mayor. But not only that, but they ripped the beating heart out of people and then ate it. We don't know if they ate the beating heart or they was not beating. I don't know why that is a big difference. They still eating hearts. And not only that, but they were cannibals. They were known for cannibalism, like very known for that. There's a legend in Mexico as well of how a very famous typical dish here called pozole is born. Supposedly pozole back then it was made by the remains of the victims of battle from the Aztecs, and they would cook them and they would make the pozole. Obviously today's recipe doesn't involve any human activity like that. Obviously is not, there's no fingers in your pozole. Is a very tasty dish, but that's supposedly where it came from. So yeah, the Aztecs are so cannibalistic that it's even in the legends about them. Not only that, but they were doing child sacrifice. And the reason why they were doing child sacrifice is the dumbest reason I ever heard, and makes me believe that these people were closer to the monkeys than to humans, for Christ's sake. No, for real. They were sacrificing children to Tlaloc, the god of rain. And the way they were doing it and the reason why they were doing it is because the tears of the kids were like the drops of water or something like that. It's like something sacred that it represented. It's insane. Even if their justification had any basics in logic or reality, they were still sacrificing children to a deity that made it rain. You know what makes it rain? Pretty sure it's not Tlaloc. The weird thing about this idea is that it's mostly like told by women. Do you know what they were doing to women back then? You don't want to know. I know. So women were basically a type of currency. They were not only captured, they were not only raided, they were not only enslaved, they were not only they did very bad things to them that I cannot say in YouTube. The R word, you know what I mean? That was like a given to these people. They will literally capture the females of the tribe that lost, that they just defeated in battle, and they either sacrificed them or enslave them, or use them as trade, or they made them marry their kids, or they made them their own women. They made them have forced marriages with other villages for power. It was just, they were not only an object, they were even less than an object. And that's why I find very wild that a lot of women defend, especially in Mexico, and a lot of women defend this type, the Aztecs specifically. And it's not that the Spaniards didn't do anything bad, like they did a lot of massacres and all that, but the Aztecs were doing that for hundreds of years in a systemized way. That's the craziest thing. They had a systemized way of slavery and torturing and murdering and sacrifices and all of that. It was insane. I mean, yes, they were brilliant for madness. They were really good at being savages. So the Spaniards were, like, they were following God, or the idea, which was not perfect, of what God is. They were Catholic, they believe in Christ, so they were not trying to do crazy stuff, but still they were human. Obviously they were human, they were imperfect, very imperfect. I'm not here to justify the conquistadores, obviously, but these terms as good or bad, this is very basic and this is a nuanced topic. We cannot say ones were the bad guys and ones were the good guys. That doesn't work like that. There are things to learn of them. We can appreciate the culture of the Aztecs, we can appreciate their legacy, but we need to understand that they were not on the good side. So first of all, Spain that you're blaming for the sins of the past is not the same Spain that was the one of the Conquista. The Spain that is right now, obviously, it's a unified republic made of different cultures that they all speak a unified language. Obviously, Catalonia is an exception, and there are other exceptions, and they had their own dialects and all that, but they are a unified country at the end of the day. The kingdom of Castilla and Aragon that joined together, which was known back then not as España, but there were just two different kingdoms out of many other kingdoms, as Galicia, as Andalusia, as Catalonia, and other ones. I don't remember all of them at the top of my head, but it was just a combination of different kingdoms that share one interesting common, which was going to the New World and extracting the freak out of those materials, obviously. The Mexico that you are defending and saying that the Spanish came and invaded and kidnapped or whatever is not the same one that it is today. It was not even called Mexico back then. It was Mesoamerica and Aridoamerica, two different regions that were itself form of very, very different and not even with any interaction with each other sometimes. Cultures that form Mesoamerica and Aridoamerica. Specifically, the Mexica people, which their Mexico or their town was called Tenochtitlan, they didn't call themselves like that. They didn't say this is Mexico. Mexico is the word that the Spanish came to us and they see, oh, this is the place where the Mexica people are, so this is Mexico. It's insane. Like the own name of our country is born of the Spanish, like the Spanish way to say our people's land. It's crazy, and but we still say no, Mexico, Spain, or whatever. Our own president saying no, Spain has to apologize about that. They don't have to apologize for shit. It's not the same people. This happened 500 years ago. The people that conquered the Aztecs have been dead for a long, long time. And as well, the people that were living there back then that were conquered, they have been dead for centuries. It's not that we don't have to learn from the past, the cultures, and even from the pain that these people, all of these people, both natives and Spanish, suffer. Or we can understand that in this life there's no white, no black, there is no good or bad, there is just humans being humans, imperfect in their perfection. And that's it. God bless. And I know it's been a while, Primos. I know I've been in a hiatus for almost 200 days now, but that's about to change. As you can tell, I have changed. The way I sound has changed. The way I am has changed, and I have changed a lot. And I am finally happy. I'm finally alive after 29 years of not being alive. 29 years of not being alive. So I'm finally alive. So I'll make sure to make it worth. And trust me, there are going to be way more videos of this type of content coming your way. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, a comment down below, and see you in the next one, Primos. Bye. Suscríbanse, subscribe. Órale. Bye.